Crystal, with so few role models in the game at the highest level who are Black, um, who did you look to for inspiration?
That's such a great question because I, growing up, didn't have a lot of role models who were Black, who looked like me, who, had the same skin color as me. I think Serena Williams was that person. She was that inspiration that made me feel like, I want to be dominant in a sport. I want to reach new highs and really break down barriers. And I think what I remember most from really watching Serena was seeing all the backlash that people gave her for how she looked, how strong she was. And I remember I kind of got that growing up too. I was, really built from a young age, and I was doing a lot of pull-ups, more than the boys were when I was growing up. So I definitely got made fun of, but in a kind of fun way, I would say. But it still did hit close to me, because I felt like, okay, so being strong is like not feminine. Like, what does that mean? And I think Serena is someone who really put strength on the map for women and really made people feel like, we're dominant. Women can dominate their sports. And it's important that you don't let anyone limit you or tell you that you don't belong in a sport, or just, you belong because you choose to be in that sport. And I think that was really incredible. And that's what really motivated me to stay in soccer and really try to reach new highs.
Why do you think girls, and in particular girls of color, are underrepresented in school sports?
Yeah, I think, women of color face a lot of challenges that a lot of people don't know about. I think in the Black community, there are not as much encouraging opportunities for parents to give their kids. And unfortunately, a lot of kids that I remember going to high school with and middle school with had other responsibilities that normal kids didn't have, such as watching their younger siblings, or maybe even having a job after school. So I do think there are challenges in the Black community that people don't know about. So we really would have to first tackle those issues, and then be able to introduce sports and encourage kids to play any sport of their choosing and really stay with it. Yeah, so I was the only Black girl on my team. I was quite used to that. I was usually either the only Black girl on a team or in my classroom. So I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. My parents moved me to Rockville Center, New York from Jamaica, Queens, and they wanted to give my brother and I a better opportunity to have a backyard, get a better education. And it was actually then that I got into soccer, because I was made aware of this sport. And I think that I would not have had that opportunity if I stayed in Queens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how did you process being one of the few girls of color on the team, or the only one?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was my new norm to be the only Black girl on a team. I definitely didn't face any discrimination. I had a very healthy relationship with all of my teammates, so that was really great. But that doesn't mean that I didn't think about me being different or looking different and questioning why that was the case. So it was quite lonely at times, but again, like I said, I did have a healthy relationship with my teammates, so that definitely helped a lot.
Mm-hmm. And did it concern you at all that in predominantly Black communities that those girls were not playing soccer as much as they were where you lived?
Yes, a lot of my friends who were Black actually didn't even know I played soccer until high school. It was when I was walking through the halls with my jerseys, they were like, "Crystal, you play soccer? What is this?" So it was actually really cool that I was able to introduce this sport to a lot of my Black friends that didn't know a lot about it. But I do think that there is a lost opportunity in getting Black players, Black females, especially in soccer, because they just don't know about it. Usually in inner cities where there's a lot of minority communities, they grow up watching football, basketball, culturally popular sports. And I think soccer just hasn't made that way to that neighborhood. And that's why you see an underrepresentation, I should say, of minorities in the sport of soccer.
Mm-hmm. And what are we losing, Crystal, do you think, by not making room for or working harder to get more girls of color in the game and in sports in general? I mean, what's the argument for why schools should make this a priority moving forward?
I think there are two arguments and two answers to that question. I think, for starters, the first argument I would say is just minorities are losing the opportunity to really learn these fundamental skills, just learning how to be involved with the team, how to, continuously work hard, even if you failed, and how to actually deal with multitasking. For me, high school sports actually allowed me to multitask and prepared me for my college career. Just knowing how to balance both school and a sport was something that challenged me, but definitely made me better for it. And I think minorities are missing out on that opportunity to really get all these fundamental skills that they could learn through sports. And I think the second argument is just, players that may be talented are missing the opportunity to reach their potential just by not being able to sustain and stay in the sport due to the financial burden that may be the issue, or, transportation, not being able to get to and from training sessions, I think has created a major challenge in minority neighborhoods.
How can schools make sports more accessible to girls of color? Any ideas? Is it a matter of like keeping costs down? Is it, more proactive recruitment of girls onto those teams? What's the key here?
Yeah, I think there are so many ideas. Of course, I think a lot of them relate to the money. It all comes down to the amount of money pouring into programs and what they can do to help minimize the cost for players. But I think high schools can really help out with local club teams by offering those fields. I think when I was growing up, we had to pay all these fees for gear, for travel, training kits, and mostly fields. So I think high schools, for the most part, can figure out a way to kind of partner with local club teams and allow those fields to be utilized by those clubs so that it'll at least lower the cost on that issue.
What else can be done to make this sport attractive to girls of color? Any ideas?
I feel like I have an idea, but it's kind of one of those scenarios of what comes first, the chicken or the egg. And I think we need to get more women of color playing soccer at an elite level where they are televised, they're promoted. And that way the youth players can strive to want to be staying in the sport even longer and reach new highs because they see someone who looks like them reaching the same dream that they may have. So I think it's unfortunate because there aren't that many of us at the highest level. So we don't really get, put on TV a lot, or people just really can't see that Black women actually do play this sport. And I think it is really important for people to see themselves in their role models.
What do you hope your legacy will be, Crystal?
I think when I am done playing soccer, I, of course, want to be remembered as a great player, of course, but I think what really matters to me most is being a good teammate, someone who really tries to lift up the mood in training sessions and, just being a good friend. I think it's really important that throughout life, you try to impact lives and you don't try to just put yourself out there and be, first to everything or the best at everything. It's about bringing everybody up along with you. So I would hope that players that I've played with feel that I've tried my best to do that for them. And I know my teammates always push me to be at my best, and I hope that I do that for them.
Terrific. Well, Crystal, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.